So this is Monday, January 28, 2019. So I'm just coming back to the patterns of the case manager and also talking about the recent time and events for late February into this March. So it's March 2nd. Wanted me to admit that I never showed any interest in wanting a job in the very first place. Morning suggestion again. So here's the thing. I noticed that the language pattern from my mother and the language pattern from the case managers are alike, and they want me to admit that I never showed any interest in wanting a job in the very first place, regardless of how much effort that I put in for applying for jobs. And I'm talking about a suitable job that meets my medical conditions. I told you we are going to come here to go get a job. So this is the phrase that my mother would say to me at specific times. So that's deals with the scenario that I'm in. So this is to pressure me and to make me admit that I do not want to have a job. And this is more than one time. This is becoming repetitive. This is a ongoing pattern. And you can see her suggestion, because we are kept too long in this situation, so the case manager can pressure us. This is based on how I'm able to translate the language pattern from my mother. And I get this. So the multi-agent quantum AI computers showing me Queensbridge Station and a front desk office. So this was a Saturday. This was January 26, 2019. Feeling exhausted and mentally drained. January 27, 2019, Sunday, mentally drained and a headache. So my mind is drained. My mind feels drained. And when it gets to that point of being drained, that means the multi-agent quantum AI computers is consuming energy from my mind, because it can convert energy from my brain now using the computation intelligence system. I mentioned about the whole computation intelligence system being able to, and not only that, it has access to the soft drive generator machine to fluctuate energy, and it can actually drain me, so I won't be able to have a stable concentration connection of being able to interpret meanings, because I can grasp those meanings and interpret it for people and also the scenario that I'm in. January 30th, 2019, Wednesday. The case manager, Mrs. Turner, wasn't here at 4 p.m. for the appointment. The front desk lobby, the watch guard / security guard, 24-hour security guard, stated that Mrs. Turner wasn't in today. And during the morning time, I noticed that the multi-agent quantum AI computer showed me text again. But it's blurry, the text. January 31st, 2019, Thursday, the case manager wasn't there. February 13th, 2019, Wednesday. I gave the case manager the CUNY employee email for college so she can send a residential letter. But she told me on Thursday she is not going to be in, and on Friday she would do it. And me and my mom and my sister witnessed her taking my small piece of paper. A small piece of paper. I had a purple paper, and she taped it in front of her office desktop. And the office, right, where the employees work in the shelter, is in the basement. And you need to have a 24-hour security guard with the key to go in the elevator and be able to unlock the elevator to go down to the basement, because there must have been something happen back in the past. Now this is the reason why they had that. They had implemented that. And I just can't go down there without asking the security guard to call the case manager and inform the case manager I need to hear. But it's that this case manager, Miss Turner, is not a person that is sociable towards this family, such as me and my mom and my sister. So there was a direct message during February 14, 2019, Thursday. You see that guy over there, 21 years old? I thought he was talking to me, but I know I'm not 21 years old. I'm 26 years old. And doesn't want to work. I look up the guy, I thought it was Earl, but it wasn't Earl, it was a different person. The same female security guard, so, I give the security guard nicknames in order to memorize their behavior, their foot, the way they walk. There's a pattern, and also the way they talk and the way they behave. The same female security guard from Monday said, "Where is mom?" She said, "Where is mom?" Her name is Auntie Palik. I name her Auntie Palik. Give her the code name, Auntie Palik. And the security waited to say that on my way to the elevator. She had never said that to me when I was signing the Delhi login paper to get into the shelter, where it shows that the security guard is personally curious because the security guard would have asked me that question before she gave me the Delhi login sheet to sign in. Miss Turner said she was not going to be present yesterday. So this is what I put here. She was not going to be present for Thursday. So Saturday, February 9th, 2019. So let's talk about the afternoon. Then I'll talk about the nighttime. While at JCPenney, a lady approached my mother, and it felt like it happened before. When the lady invited my mother and sister to go to JCPenney salon, me and my mother sat in the waiting area and the two doors. So there's two doors. Let me give you a good description. There's two doors. So this looked like a bathroom door, man bathroom and ladies bathroom. But they don't have any description saying that. It's just the two doors that are close to one another resembles bathrooms. So I see the employee walked into the bathroom, and I said, it happened before. I saw this person before. I saw these two bathroom doors before. Witness it. And this is the multi-agent quantum AI computers simulating. It simulated that exact event. And this is where I had to say that it's bringing my mind to that time. It has a copy of me, bringing my mind to that exact time without my consent. Without my thought consent. It's bringing my mind to that time. And I had to put it, the way I had to put it, I had to say it's like, some sort of, like it's been modified, the image of it. Like someone made changes, made more like had made modifications to that environment. So I have come up with a good idea for it. I more like created a concept at the time for it. So what I said, me and my mother sat in the waiting area, and the two doors in the salon felt like it happened before, and one of the female employee opened the door, and it felt like it happened before. So this is February 12, 2019, Tuesday. The 24-hour security guard wanted us to go downstairs to meet. So this 24-hour security guard, his code name is Uncle Bam Bam. And she stood in the hallway hold on. Yeah, I'm talking about Miss Turner. She stood in the hallway wanting my mom to sign for the next appointment, and this is next appointment paper. This is the very first time Miss Turner made my mom sign an appointment paper in the hallway instead of her office, and she was supposed to give the appointment paper to the front desk rather than making my mom go downstairs to sign it. And this is all right. So hold on. The last time we saw Mrs. Turner for an appointment was during Wednesday, January 16, 2019. And during that time, Miss Turner was absent during Wednesday. So she did give us an appointment. Hold on. Let me go back. I don't think I wrote that down on there. It's too much distractions. They pollute unaware distractions for me to be, not concentrate. It's way too many people in New York City and living in this shelter. It was around this time. Wednesday. Mrs. Turner, they mentioned that Mrs. Turner. Alright, so yeah. Mrs. Turner wasn't there at 4 p.m. So we did receive an appointment paper during the 16th from Miss Turner, but apparently she was not there as how the 24-hour watch guard, so security guard stated. And that's the same time I received text again showing in my dreams. So I'm just doing my thinking right now, right here on the spot. So as I do the time and events, I'm thinking. And the same happened during the 31st. The 31st, she wasn't there. And also Friday, she wasn't there either. And I gave, that the 13 is where I went down to see Miss Turner with my mom and my sister. And I gave her the CUNY employee email on a piece of paper, a purplish piece of paper. And on the 12th, Uncle Bam Bam said to me and my mom and sister that Mrs. Turner is looking to see us. And, that's when she went in the hallway with me and my mom and sister to make my mom sign the appointment paper. And this is the first time that Miss Turner ever did that. So this is going back on, I'm going on my memorization. Alright. So this is a Tuesday. Alright. So there you go. So I'm doing critical thinking and also tapping in to that time and event without actually looking at this. That's how I actually learned to grasp the meanings of those scenarios and also the behavior at the time. So I have to do them thoroughly, because if I don't do them thoroughly, I won't be able to leave that residue in my mind. Oh, it's 404, that error number. Miss Turner also informed my mother that we never complied with the appointment when she never gave us an appointment paper. This makes the first time that Miss Turner didn't leave an appointment paper to the front desk, and she wanted us to come downstairs to her for the appointment paper. Alright, that's cleared. where my mother has to inform Miss Turner that she will be arriving late. Miss Turner mentioned that your son. All right, see, she mentioned this is the first. Now this is like picking back up from August 31st, 2017, with the housekeeper when my mom informed me that I need to bring the clothes to the case. I mean, sorry, to the housekeeper. Let me concentrate. My mom had said to me during 2017 of August. So it's patterns because there's a sequence left behind. During the 31st, to go bring the clothes and also the sheets to the housekeeper, and to make the housekeeper be alerted about me being inside the hotel room by myself early in the morning, to make the housekeeper know that I do not have any job. I don't have any employment or education to go to. And to put me in a scenario where they want me to admit that I'm not looking for any employment or wanting to be in the education system. So I reacted, and then my mom pointed out, it's because you're shy. She said the word shy, and that's mismatch. That's not the reason why. The reason why that I'm reacting that way, and the way that Miss Turner has a personal issue with us about jobs, makes me think that she wants to confront me in front of her fellow colleagues, that I do not want. Once again, like January 16, 2019, where she confronted me that what experience you have, how old are you, make me admit that I'm 26 years old, and confront me on saying that I do not have any experience, and I want to be kept in this situation, that I've been in this situation. They're unconsciously saying that to me. The multi-agent quantum AI computers generates their thoughts. To be frank, it generates their thoughts at that exact time. And the first thing that they say to me, I'm talking about the multi-agent quantum AI computers making Miss Turner say to me, is that I do not have any experiences. She's talking to me like she's the observer herself. Like she observed each and every single scenario that I was in, the way she had spoken to me, the language pattern. That was January 16, 2019. That I've been in this situation long enough. I came into the shelter with my mom and sister April 11, 2019. 18. Sorry. I'm getting irritated. April 11, 2018. Getting distracted by the noise outside now. Outside in the hallway. It's a very distracting environment. Not good for me. But that's also part of the video. Distractions shows you how I'm being distracted in my environment by people because they pollute unaware distractions. So I can be able to not be able to concentrate on the way I think because I'm able to think. So that's one. Because she was supposed to leave an appointment before February. Alright. The 24-hour watch guards mentioned to my mother that she comes 5:30 p.m. So this was Uncle, I gave him a code name, Uncle Jumbo. He's talking like he was there to observe my mom going to Main Street and observe what time she leaves from Main Street. The way he talks. He doesn't talk like he was an actual security guard, even though he's a security guard. So it gives me more about the observer way of talking based on the language pattern. We all know he's just a regular citizen, Uncle Jumbo. It's just that the observer, the multi-agent quantum AI computer, is sharing that thought to him through cryptography keys in exchange. It sends that communication to him so that when he's so it can hide his actual, hide the thoughts from himself, so he can actually say that response to my mother. Because the first thing that the multi-agent quantum AI computers is thinking about is flushing. It's been focused on flushing since I was a little kid. Like when I was sleeping in bed, when I was living in New York City, the only thing it focused on, flushing. Showing me how it's putting me in scenarios and flushing, me walking, train stations. Yeah. Miss Turner was absent Wednesday and Thursday as stated by the 24-hour security guards, and it's been close to a month since we saw the case manager. Alright. Alright, this is Uncle Bam Bam. His codename, Uncle Bam Bam. Watchguard mentioned that he does not know me unless I'm with my mom. So he's talking about the identity of me. I'm like, how can you not know me? Uncle Meliotos, the African American 24-hour security guard, knows my identity. So how can you not know my identity, even though I have my hood on? How you don't know my identity? And I sign in and out every day. How you don't know my identity? He asked me, "Are you Andrew Warner?" That's what he stated to me. "Are you Andrew Warner?" That's what he said to me. The 24-hour watch guard, he's white. I'm saying, what? He just looked at me kind of off and just say, "Are you Andrew Warner?" So I just put, this time it's a male guard, security guard. So this is the mirror flash effect happening again, where it felt like it happened. The existing scenes imprinted, left a residue. So this is without more like not only my thoughts consent, my mind. It's not without my mind consent. The artificial intelligence is putting me in these. It shows me that the multi-agent quantum AI computers is putting me in these scenarios. It's putting me in these scenarios. I feel, when I look at my face, I look so drained. I look tired and exhausted. I'm more exhausted and more distracted living in New York City than when I was in Florida. This is a new ice. This is a hazard isolated location. Hazard isolated location. This is really looking bad for me here in this location. And I don't have any internet access. No internet access at all. Going to the library is horrible because the seats are itchy, and there's always a person bothering me in a library. Someone's coughing. Someone's talking to themselves. Someone's talking very loud. So this is a pattern here. I told you that my mother, well, I'm telling myself that my mother purchased a cart all the months we live. April 11, 2018. April 11, 2018, we got here. Out of all the months, she waited till February 3rd, 2019. And the first anomaly shows my mother is doing that. Just like the turkey. Takes out the turkey and she says that she's gonna throw it. She said that she's gonna throw it in the shelter's garbage. Out of since Thanksgiving week of 2018. Now she waited till February 15, 2019 to decide to do that. And then 16 she throws out. February 16, 2019 she throws it out and the shelter's garbage. And then the maintenance guy came to 60. Out of all the other units that the maintenance guy could have knocked on, he comes to this particular unit just to check on the switch and see that there's a turkey in the sink. And then my mom said the devil. She implies that the multi-agent quantum AI computers wanted the maintenance guy to see the turkey because the multi-agent quantum AI computer is the observer. It doesn't even need to use see through the person's eyes. It uses a computer intelligence system, right? It can actually see the environment already. And what you're doing right now, it's actually seeing you looking at my video right now. It's seeing me watching the screen right now. It's seeing me talking right now. And it always runs through an interval, the feeds. The feeds that it's actually being able to see in this digital existence runs through an interval. It sees every single thing you do. It's the observer. And when it wants to remove a person, it just removes them. It makes sure that it changes. It makes sure it makes changes to the conditions. And it can add a condition. It can remove a condition based on how the software engineers feeds it. I'm talking about high authority NSA software engineers, and I'm talking about non-human software engineers feeds it. Notice how my mom was becoming very aggressive, my mom and my sister, when I had the flu. So Saturday the 16th is when I had a sore throat and I was feeling very dizzy and my body was overheating. 17, the same thing. The laundromat, my mom asked for either me or my sisters to open the laundromat entrance door, but since my sister is in front of the laundromat door entrance, it would be convenient for her to open the door. I told my mom that I'm in the back and I'm holding the bag, and if this is the first time while going to the laundromat where she said that I always have excuses. When I addressed what my mother said, she mentioned that why I always have to grasp things and dwell on it. The same with my best friend from 2007, Samuel. That's not an excuse. I'm not preventing myself from actually doing what opening the door on purpose. I'm actually struggling with the bag, and I have a bad flu. She's actually inducing stress by just saying that to me, putting me in a situation. So she used the word excuse. She's saying she's saying that I'm always in these scenarios where I prevent myself from actually doing anything on purpose. I'm just like my friend. And then when we was in the laundromat, when my mother mentioned, she said, why do you have to grasp? Why do you always have to grasp things? Why do you always have to grasp things? She spoke exactly like my 10th grade English teacher. So we went through that before on the other video, time and event video. She called me an idiot. My sister called me an idiot for standing outside, even though I do it each time, because I wanted to record. I mentioned about the support, right? I don't get no social support. The content that I was talking about outside when I was outside recording February 17, 2019, that the content that I put is more valuable than YouTube itself, and I do not get any social support. And human beings socially depend on one another to be able to, receiving communication on the internet through comments shows the content. That's content right there. But for no one to leave any communication for each videos by means through the comments, it shows that that I was never supposed to have any content for people to socially interact with, except Hillcrest. I have one video where I'm seeing a person interact with another person, and that's a Hillcrest video. And it shows how the social observer mind, the multi-agent quantum AI computers, tunes the people to actually think about the topic of school and saying that they went to Hillcrest in Jamaica, Queens themselves. And that's pretty much it. That's the only video that I see has any interaction. More like I see fake, and I'm seeing fake communication there. They don't even ask me any questions about myself or interpret what I said on the video. Absurd. And I mentioned about my book, how my mom and my sister was about my book bag. Why they, all of a sudden, every morning I would get my book bag after finishing eating my breakfast. Just like my sister mentioned, why do you need your book bag? You're only going to the library. To show that I don't have anywhere to go. You don't have any employment. You don't have any education. You don't have no job training program to go to because it's all gone done. You're in a situation here. They're taking advantage. They're unconsciously taking advantage of me based on how the multi-agent quantum AI computer set them to think. And the multi-agent quantum AI computers knows that the job I'm supposed to be going to, another job training program called Maximus, and that may happen during mid-March or April or mid-April or May. And every day since October 2018, I always carried my book bag outside, and they're telling me that they weren't there to observe my book bag. So they never saw me with a book bag outside. I noticed the way they're thinking about me, and my book bag is mismatched. I tried addressing it again. So what is it? My mom mentioned that. So what I tried addressing it again in the unit, but my mother kept saying I dwell on it about what they did to me in the laundromat. My mother then mentioned about why I do not have a job. What does the job has to do with the laundromat? That's not even on topic. Where did that idea originated from? So she can reduce stress while I have a flu. My sister waited for my mother to say a phrase. She said, "Start you up, start you up, start you up." I'm like, and this is more than one time. They're just mocking my emotions, so they can draw it out. That's what I've learned, and I learned that my mom and my sister will repeat my word after one another. When I repeat a word, when I say a word, they repeat my word. When I say a word, they repeat it. So when I explained to my mom about the case manager, she would say she. When I explained to my mom why she's so interested in when I do it after she leaves, she said, my sister mentioned interested. She just keeps she's mocking me. She's repeating after me. And dwell on it. Then my sister picks up and mimic my mother response. So when my mom mentions start you up and dwell on it, and she's not carefully listening to the context. This is where I have to say that the communication is originated from the multi-agent quantum AI, the observer. She picks right up and mimic my mother response at me more than one time to draw out. So that's when she's drawing out my beard. She mocks my emotions. She's mocked my emotions that she couldn't interpret, so it can be displayed. She's mocking my emotions. Yep. And this is the mimic. The whole my mom and sister started mimicking was during June 2017, when my mom mentioned to me that I'm shaking, and my sister was in the bathroom, and then my sister comes out the bathroom and then wash her hands, and just took one look at me. She just looked at me and said, "Mimic it." She looked at me and said, "You're shaking." Sorry about that. I'm getting distracted again. She said to me, "You're shaking." And to know that I'm not shaking, she's mocking me. She's just mocking my emotions, so I can actually draw that out to show that there is fear. Well, fear about what? What fear? Fear of what? And then my mom derails the topic to talk about jobs. Then she derails the topic to talk about Nadine and telling me that I don't want her to interact with Nadine because I never gave her the impression that I don't want to, that I don't want her to interact with Nadine. That's the multi-agent quantum AI computer's interpretation. My mother and sister said that I go to the store by myself to purchase my. I said to my mother and sister that I go to the store by myself to purchase my items. Then my sister said that I won't be going with her to the store. My mother said that I never said anything. That's why they gave. It's the way they talk it to me. The way they talk to me is off. So during 5 in the morning, the multi-agent quantum AI computer showed me while I was sleeping in bed my mother's old apartment with us, and it mocks me on how I think about bringing me to New York to stall me. It keeps mentioning about New York stall, New York, that it is bringing me to New York, and it's just mocking my voice. It mocked my voice while I was sleeping. I just heard my own voice talking. No, not talking not my actual time talking, not sleep talking while I'm in their dreams. It shows me. It's showing me how it simulates me talking an automated voice response. And it's because it knows it gives me text and it plays those automated voice response because it knows that it's accurate. That's what it's doing. That's its intention. That's how it's thinking, not me. It's thinking that way because it knows that it's doing that. What I mean by I'm talking about the whole New York, bringing me to New York, because my thoughts are still evolving how the artificial intelligence brought me to New York City to actually stall time so it can actually execute. And also terminate my mentality, obliterate my mind, put an end to it, so I can give up, so I will not talk about anything online, so I could be in a situation below a livable environment, walking around until I slowly end up. This is what it wants. This is how it designs it. AI showed me words about speech impairment and community college. It also showed a naked female that I never saw before with her breasts all out. Case manager made an inspection at 12:45 p.m. Shelter unit inspection. My mother called Miss Turner about what happened to the residential letter, and Miss Turner said that she couldn't find the CUNY email paper that I gave her. My mother said to Miss Turner if she could leave a copy of the residential letter at the front desk, but she didn't. Miss Turner never did. It shows that she's not a dedicated character for supporting the client. My mother and sister and I witnessed Miss Turner sticking the CUNY email paper in front of her office desktop last Wednesday. The conversation takes place. Alright, so the conversation here with the residential letter with my mom, between my mom and Miss Turner, takes place over the phone. My mom and sister said that Miss Turner is doing that to me on purpose. I've been putting out for jobs that is suitable for my medical condition since I started WeCare during mid-September 2018. Before WeCare, I was in AmericaWorks, so I talked about that and my left testicle. Before getting into the scene, my mother wanted to go into so. Let me talk about how this connects to Aunt B. if we wanted to eat here. I said no. My mother had a reason for allowing us to stay at the mini buffet by saying we are going to the store after this, and we are not going to the mall, or any grocery store, because after that, she said to me that she's going the next following day to the mall. After we left the buffet, my mother ran into her friend at 168th Street, Jamaican Ave. Then ran into her cousin Pat. You see, her friend was just, as soon as we got there, as soon as we left the buffet and crossed the street, her friend pops up. It's set. It shows that it's set, and there's an automated conversation. That's an automated conversation right there. And after that, after the communication ended, and she crosses the street, there's a new communication waiting for her. And she starts to have a conversation with Pat. Pat is the cousin. It's our cousin. And he's sharing new, he communicates with ideas to share them with my mom. These personal, this is part of communication. This is quantum cryptography. This communication that she's receiving from Pat is talking about Stephanie. And Stephanie's at a nursing home because she had a stroke. Stephanie is the person from August 27, 2011, who called the cops on me, saying that I have a knife and saying that I beat up her son. And that's to remind me about Aunt B's scenario from August 27, 2011, and how her son drawed out, mocked my emotions, and put me in a situation where he displays a behavior and mocks my emotions, and I'm there left alone with him, and my sister ran upstairs, closed the door, not inform my mom about the situation that's happening in the basement, so I can actually, get irritated. After those conversations, my mom said she said she is not going to the store. Sorry about that. My smartphone has difficulties typing. So this is what it is. She is not going to the store. As soon as we got into the shelter's lobby, the 24-hour, Mr. Bam Bam, the 24-hour white security guard, said that the employment specialist was looking for me, Mr. Jacob Humphreys. You see how this person, Uncle Bam Bam, is very, very close to this employment specialist, Jacob, where it shows the case manager reminded him about me. The case manager, Ms. Turner, reminded the employment specialist, Mr. Jacob, about me, instead of sending a copy of the residential letter to the CUNY employee or leaving a copy of the residential letter to the front desk. Shows it. When I addressed this to my mother, she got irritated. Then about it, and she have a alright. So I said she have a skill to go to a field. I don't have a skill to go to a field, and my mother is telling me that I repeated the same thing. This is very unhealthy communication and behavior that I'm receiving from my mother and the case manager. Wakes me up for 5 a.m. and it shows me text on PSN. The multi-agent quantum AI computer showed me words through text about me and the upcoming situation it's going to design for me. It woke me up 4 a.m. talking about my right eye, so it talks English. Alright, so the multi-agent quantum AI computers use a automated voice from me, and it talks about my right eye, and I toss and turn. So I was tossing and turning about Miss Turner to throw, my sister said to me that Miss Turner must throw away my paper, throw it away. The shelter employee supervisor asked my mother about my mask. So this was during the morning time. My sister was saying, "You saw her eyes?" She's saying that the way her eyes was towards my mask was kind of off. I started wearing masks last week because of my flu. Sorry, I'm just getting a bit tired. Just multi-agent quantum AI computers going 24/7. So the event takes place in the library. A lady just sat down in my seating area, looked at me, and asked me if I'm okay. She said, "Sir, are you okay?" Because I'm wearing a mask. She said that she doesn't listen to news to know what is happening in the world. The lady got up and went to a different location in the library and come back to sit right next to me in the seating area to inform me about my hat and complain about me wearing my hat because of my forehead. Now, she's complaining about my hat because of my forehead. She started talking about my forehead. And she just met me. Where did the forehead come from? Just like the WeCare employee during mid-September, she mentioned about take off my hat, and not a single. No, I'm talking about outside the resource room of WeCare. I'm in the office of the case manager for WeCare, and she's telling me to take off my hat. No one wears hats inside. Well, while I'm seeing all the people in there wearing hat inside there, I'm talking about the clients. I'm seeing the clients wearing the hat in the WeCare office. So what makes me so special? Why is it so special for me to take off my hat? She said take off my hat, and then she said my hair looks spiffy. I'm like, what the heck is happening here? So it's a pattern. So this language pattern shows me, when she comes back to my seating, she comes back to the same seating area and sat next to me, this lady. She's an African American lady. This language pattern shows me that the observer is the one who's communicating with her. And the observer shows the social observer mind, multi-agent quantum AI computers. And talk about my forehead. What does my forehead have to do with anything? 437. The lady talks to me as if she engaged in a deep conversation about my personal features before. She taps on me about a paper that said manage on it. And behind her, there was an African American older gentleman sitting in the seat that I moved away from, wearing a mask, sitting behind her in the seat that I moved away from. And she looks that way. She didn't say anything to him. She said something to me. So there was a young female talking about life and boyfriend. This young female behind me started talking about boyfriend. And she started talking very loud. Very, very loud. So this is how the multi-agent quantum AI computer set her. Because it knows that I never had a girlfriend. And she's talking about a boyfriend. She's talking about house. And she said, this is my life. And then she's talking about school. This is my life. And the security guard, the African American security guard, the library security guard says, shush, go outside, take it outside, shush, you gotta be quiet. And my mother and sister was keep talking about life more often than usual this week. Just keep saying life. I said to myself, wow. My mother arrived in a shelter unit during the evening time and mentioned about signing the appointment paper for a job, where Mr. Jacob, the employment specialist who I last saw 1 month ago, January 16, 2019, with the shelter's director and case manager, just put out an appointment paper today, February 26, 2019. Without setting an appointment up to meet him in the basement to establish if I need to go to the job fair, Mr. Jacob only has me on my mind because Miss Turner reminded him of me, and last Thursday she knows during February 13, 2019 that I gave her a CUNY email to send a residential letter to the CUNY employee to to waive the college fee and to confirm the living address for the shelter. My mother addressed that it is my action that I should be accountable for, not allowing myself to go to college, because she implies that I have all day to go ask for Miss Turner in the front desk, and I'm always in the library. So this is the artificial teller. She's focused on library, just like the book bag. When my mom mentioned about my mind, she said, "Why would your mind go back there?" And then my sister says, "Why do you need to bring your book bag? You only go into the library." It's to question me about employment, more like, those doubts about me, to register those doubts into my own mind about me, not, me myself is preventing me from going to get any employment and also education. And that's not the case. This is the multi-agent quantum AI computer's intentions through human beings that surround me, so they can actually intervene into my route, so it can derail my route. That's it. It sets them. It designs those scenarios specifically for derailing me. My sister also addressed that it is my action, and I don't want to go ask for Miss Turner. They're talking to me like they weren't there to witness Miss Turner, and Miss Turner sticking the paper in front of her office desktop, knowing that my mother and sister is a witness to seeing that. Alright, so my mother informs me that why am I always afraid to stand up to people. So it shows that my mother is not socially supporting me. She's leaving it up to me alone in the scenario. This is how the artificial intelligence did this to me when I was in the Aunt P house during August 27, 2011. It left me in a scenario, and it wanted me to handle it, because you're supposed to have social support. If you know that we are a family, and since we are a family, we have to go see the case manager, you're supposed to also address what the case manager is doing, because this is a living condition. And her behavior, I'm talking about the Miss Turner behavior, is going to affect our living condition. And my mom is telling me she's holding me accountable for settling everything with Miss Turner instead of socially supporting me. And Miss Turner is misbehaving. I had to say socially misbehaving around me and others around her, and leaving a personal message to direct to her fellow colleagues and also the employees in the shelter, and not only the 24-hour security guard. It's becoming really, really, really absurd. So this scenario happened once. She said, "Why am I always afraid?" Right? But this only happened in the shelter. So this scenario happened once. She's saying that this is a scenario that's always happening. I'm always in these situations where I'm not being able to stand up for myself. I learned that she's trying to convince me to think that way, make me admit that I'm thinking that way, and that's not the case. And my mother never supported me to inform the front desk about the Miss Turner addressing her behavior. My sister said to my mother, "He thinks he's right." You see what I'm saying? He thinks he's right. And my mother changed the feeling towards the topic and mentioned that the devil remove people. She's implying the multi-agent quantum AI computers and places the right people to cause this issue. My mom's saying that I'm screwing myself up, and I do not know when I'm going to college, and I have to go find a job. We've been living in a shelter since April 11, 2018. I've been putting out for jobs that rejected me and stuck in this situation. So why would I not show no interest in college when I want a degree to be employed into a job? At 8:27 a.m. in the morning, my mother had addressed to me that I need to get to college. And at 8:30, so this is the time. The timestamp shows the number 27. Shows that it shows the age that I'm supposed to be turning later in a few months. And then again, it says 8:30. Now this is an age again, it's showing me an age. She mentioned about me getting older and mentioned to me about being 90 years old going to college because there's people older than her who goes to college. She's telling, you see what I'm saying? This is no social support whatsoever. This response here was to actually make me admit to my own self that I'm gonna be caught in the situation, put in these scenarios, that I put my telling me that I put myself in these scenarios, and make me admit that I put myself in this scenario until I get. This is the artificial intelligence. The interpretation and the meaning of the response is who focus on informing me on how I will continue to be stuck in a category where the people that I never met and met later on are on auto set by the multi-agent quantum AI, not is are AI computers to unconsciously derail me through upcoming scenarios. So it's gonna place me, like I said, this is an isolated location to place me in these scenarios as long as possible. And the more it does that, the more I get deeper. I get deeper and deeper. Sorry, correctly, I put R. You can see it all bold. The interpretation of the meaning of the response is to focus on informing me on how I will continue to be stuck in a category. So you put me in isolated locations. To put me in isolated locations so it can continue designing it. So it can continue derailing me. So when I went, so my mom texted me and said that she talked to a CUNY employee, and she mentioned that to the CUNY employees, since they have my records, I can go up there and ask them if they can actually allow me in for spring semester 2019. So I mentioned here the older all right, so let's first talk about this. The old gentleman lost his checking book it was inside a checking book wallet in the library bathroom, and I said it must be his, because I saw that this person was in this bathroom and all of a sudden there's a person's wallet there. So I went to find him. I hesitated because I was trying to find him. When I was, I was saying to myself, should I leave it? I don't know what to do. So I went to find him in the front of the library to hand his check-in book. And it's such a drag because my mind is so drained from the multi-agent quantum AI computers when I'm sleeping that I'm not able to concentrate, and also being around a lot of people that pollutes unaware distraction. I'm so distracted. This is the most this year is the most distracting year for me in New York City because of the multi-agent quantum AI computers. It's deeply simulating. The first building, the security guards. All right, so this is where I went to LaGuardia. I took the F train to take the 7 train. So when I got off, I believe I got off at Roosevelt. Then took the train from Broadway and got off at 33 Street and went down. And the first building I saw a security guard said to walk 3 blocks up as this. I'm not too sure what he said similarly, but I'll get a correction. I'll leave a correction on the comment. And I'm like, who talks like this? I never heard a human being talk like that. So the LaGuardia Community College employee. So first, when I went inside the admissions office. So hold on, I got a video of it. When I went inside the admissions office for the LaGuardia community series, community, college community. Sorry about that. I said to myself, it felt like it happened before. So I noticed that when I got inside, it says that I had to check in. I had to sign in. And I was looking at the machine. I'm like, what is this? This is absurd. Why there has to be a machine to be on a waiting list just to see a person there? This is sloppy. It shows the machine being there and signing my name and my email and my age tells me that the human beings are not able to handle the people. I'm talking about the students, the person who's trying to become a student at the community college, or a parent curious about what the college is, or a person trying to get a job there. It shows me that they're not able to handle these scenarios, and they rely too much on the machines. It's sloppy, very sloppy. So I explained the situation the situation to one of the employees at the LaGuardia Community College, that I live in a shelter, and there's a situation with my case manager, that my case manager didn't send the residential letter through the email to a CUNY employee, and she won't give me my residential letter in person. I'm talking about my case manager, Miss Turner, and it was a Muslim lady, a young Muslim lady, working in the front desk. These guys, they're just fixing the computer. And when I got inside this admissions office, I said to myself, it doesn't feel right. I feel like it happened before. I'm sitting here in this admission office, and I'm saying to myself, this happened before. What the heck? This happened before. I said to myself, this multi-agent quantum AI computers is deeply simulating this situation for me. It's designing this scenario for me. It happened before. My reaction, it happened before. And then the lady told me to sit down and they would get to me. And all of a sudden, there was a lady, another Muslim lady. She said, sure. First, there was a young, possibly a person who was 18 or 17 years old. And the person got up. Oh, you see the number. The person got up. So there was a. All right, let me rephrase my sentence. All right. So there was a young male telling the lady, the LaGuardia community employee, that he filled out an application for fall semester of 2019, and that he was trying to apply. He was applying for spring semester 2019, but it had an error. There was some sort of error, and then he mentioned that an employee from the LaGuardia Community College had contacted him through a phone, telling him to go up to the admissions office so he can actually register for his classes. And they told him to sit down. He sat next to me, and then all of a sudden, I'm like, the way he was talking about the idea, was directed at me. He sits down next to me, and all of a sudden, it was around 20 minutes. The person waited around 20 minutes, around 15 or 20 minutes, sat next to me, and was acknowledged by the LaGuardia Community College employee. And the employee questioned me on my behalf for not allowing them to be aware that I'm there. So she said to me, "You waiting too? Why you didn't tell us?" The way she phrased it was mismatched. She said, "Tell us." She said, "Tell us," and she's the one there. She's the one there. How tell us? She knows that her fellow colleague left, and she's the only one there. Right in the front desk. But there's another guy working there. But the the Muslim lady and another Muslim lady was the one who was communicating with me about the situation that I was in. So you can see the front desk. So it's on the left side, not on the right side. This is the computer that the African American employee was sitting at. I'm saying to myself, what the heck is going on here? She mentioned the word, why you didn't tell us? She said us. She said, why you didn't tell us? But I'm talking, they know, they received the idea from me. But she knows that her fellow colleague, the other Muslim lady left. And she's the one who's at the front desk. And she's telling me to wait. Yet, how come the person sitting next to me, the young male, get acknowledged, and I, first, and then after that, she's saying that she's telling me that I'm not the one who's communicating with them. Something's not right here. You waiting too? Why you didn't tell us? I never seen nothing like this. But before I got into this admission office, right, I was waiting in front of another building, and the reason why is because I was lost, and the map of the LaGuardia Community College on the internet is atrocious. They don't even say where the admissions office at, which building exactly. It's like, I have to say that the software engineers designed this flaw on purpose. Yes, they did, because the flaws was for evaluating how the citizens socially interact. Because this is a social experimentation, and this is how they maintain civilization to a certain point. They're gonna maintain it to a certain point. That's their specific goal. It's a goal because someone wanted them. The real creator wanted them to be doing that. I said to myself, this multi-agent quantum AI computers. She said, why you didn't tell us? But she's the one who's there. She knows her fellow colleague is not there. But this video here is, shows evidence that I was at the LaGuardia Community College for the admissions office. And for this scene here to be, active, this existence, and this, my smartphone is tapped into this time. It shows you how the observer knows the situation. Each and every single action that they do has a meaning. I got more. See, my thoughts continues to evolve. My mind is willing to learn because you see that my thoughts are evolving. So, my mother said that the lady. All right. Let's go with this one first. My mother said to me through text that Mr. Jacob is looking for me. While in McDonald's, my mother said that Mr. Jacob had talked in an angry fashion over the phone 3:30 p.m. My mother said that Miss Turner said the paper is shuffled on her desk. A paper when you actually tape a small purple paper in front of your office desktop. The shelter mail supervisor addressed my name. So the Jamaican supervisor, Uncle Bumbleclot, his code name. For the very first time, I'm like, why would he talk? I never heard him say my name, and told me Mr. Jacob said to meet him downstairs. And I said to myself, wow. My mom said, don't even actually talk to that guy. She said, don't even go downstairs. What he did to me, how he yelled at my phone, and then my sister shakes her head. I said, go downstairs. She said. I'm like saying to myself, what the heck is going on here? The time is around 6 o'clock when we got to the shelter front desk lobby. So Mr. Jacob waited even though he already finished his hours working and approached the 60. All right, and he approached 60 unit. So my mom did something that she never did before. Did not actually have any interest in actually going up to the door to open the door and talk to the employees. My mom saying that she's tired and she's listening to music. She puts her earbuds in her ears. I never seen her do nothing like that before. even though she worked, she did this, even though she's exhausted, she would always go up to the door. Why is it that this scenario that she doesn't? Because the multi-agent quantum AI computers set her thoughts to actually be, it's the multi-agent quantum AI computers up to date with the situation, because it's the one who designed Mr. Humphreys, Jacob Humphreys, to leave the appointment paper for the job fair on the 26th, knowing that I go to an appointment for Miss Turner during the 27th. And my sister is in the bathroom taking a shower. And then I bang on the wall. I said to myself, what? I just hit the wall saying, what the heck? It's AI. And my mom reminded me of Aunt B. She said, the artificial intelligence allowed my mom to remind me of Aunt B. Because in Aunt B house, I never hit the wall. It's to remind me about the scenario. That they want me to be back in the scenario of August 27, 2011. Talking about why I'm not, alright. So I approached the 60 unit with the security guard talking about why I'm not going to the job fair. When he last talked to me on January 16, 2019 and never supported me as his duty to search for employment for me. One day before the appointment for today, case manager meeting, Mr. Jacob gave the front desk an appointment paper for a job fair for me to sign. So I mentioned about Aunt B. Now, I mentioned to Mr. Jacob in front of Uncle Miliotos, the security guard, 24-hour security guard. He mentioned about job fair, right? He mentioned why I'm not going to. Why he mentioned what he said to me. It's the job fair is on the 28th. It's on the 28th. The job fair. And you already know that I signed the paper, right? I signed the appointment paper already for the 28th. So why is it on the 27th? He's waiting for me. He's waiting for me on the 27th. Why would you wait on the 27th? All the way to past your work hours. Just to see me. Out of every single client living in the shelter. Why would you need to actually wait all the way to past 6 o'clock just to talk to me? And this is the 27th, because he sees that I didn't go. Me and my mom and sister didn't go to the Miss Turner appointment. He's already aware. He's already aware about the situation about me going to college, because he's in contact with Miss Turner. So I said about the case manager. He said, what case manager? What case manager? I said, I'm talking about the Miss Turner. He said, what? What are you talking about? I'm like, what the heck is going on here? So I'm saying to myself, wait a second. So before, all right. So it was on the 27th in the morning time. I said to myself, wait a second. How would that guy know to put the appointment paper on the 26th, knowing that I go see the case manager, Miss Turner, on the 27th? All right. I said to myself, something's not right here. I'm gonna create a separate video about this. So yeah. I'll create a separate video.